Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining today. By Krishna's mercy, we are here in session 2 of Gita in a nutshell. So we are very grateful for this opportunity to be able to discuss Bhagavad Gita, because in the story of Gita Mahatmya, it is said that how rare it is for us to access this Bhagavad Gita and be able to discuss this, because Lord Shiva tells to Parvati many different histories about explaining the glories of each chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And when we see in that, we see that throughout generations, it has been passed down and not widely available throughout many times in the history. So we are very fortunate to be able to access Bhagavad Gita as it has come down from the disciplic succession. And we will start with prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamahamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. That's it. So before we go into session 2, which is that we are not all in all and there is a God in control. That's the theme of this. To give a recap of what we did yesterday, we saw how Bhagavad Gita started off with Arjuna while he was facing the duty of fighting for the righteous cause. He was contemplating on the results of the war, and he was demotivated to fight, and he was even depressed, thinking that why I have to do this very heinous act of killing my own relatives. So he was torn between the two choices, and he wanted to do the right thing. So he surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna immediately told Arjuna that although you are uh, talking like a learned man, but you don't know the base, you seem to have forgotten the basics of life. What is that? Like if a person is drowning, say somebody is drowning, and then a lifeguard swims fast to save the person. And if the lifeguard comes back uh, with the shirt of the person, telling that I've saved him, would that be a good thing to do? No, right? Why? Because the dress is not important. The person is important who is wearing the dress, and he has to be saved. Similarly, Krishna is making a point that even this body is like a dress, and we, the soul, are living within this body. And sometimes this body is described as a city of 9 gates. the outlets of the gates through which we get in touch with the material world. And so, as a soul, we inhabit this body. And also, he gives the example that even in this life, the body changes from babyhood to boyhood to youth to old age. So basically, when somebody turns into youth, their baby body is dead. And somebody becomes old, then their youth body is dead. And then when the body is no more capable of hosting the soul, then the soul continues, soul or we continue the journey. So my teacher gave an example that if you are going to a sweet shop and getting gulab jamun, and then they give you in a carry bag. So when you come back, we take the gulab jamun out and throw the carry bag. The carry bag is like is to hold the gulab jamun, right? It's not as important as the gulab jamun. Similarly, we as a soul who are living within this body, and we need to take care of our own needs, the soul's needs, the purpose of life, and why are we born, and why who's designing this laws of nature that you have to grow and then become old and die, and what is death? Do I continue to live after death? Then in that case, am I the architect of my next life? Then how do I know what is best to do? So all these $1 million questions are answered in Bhagavad Gita, but this is the basic foundational concept that we are not this body whom we think we are, basically, but we are the soul. And the second point is we as a soul don't die at all. The body either dies today, tomorrow, or after a few years, or after 100 years. There is no question of maintaining it indefinitely. But the soul is so minute that it cannot be even seen. So, in Bhagavad Gita, the dimension of the soul is said to be, if you take the tip of the hair and put a point on the paper, then it's a tiny bit dot. And if that dot is divided into 10,000 parts, 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair is the size of the soul. And how do we know that the soul is present? By consciousness, by awareness. When the soul is present within the body, we are aware, we are live and kicking, we are going. Once the soul goes out of the body is dead, or dead matter, cannot move, cannot, have any symptoms of life. So another example we saw is a car and a driver. So the driver can park the car and go, and the car will remain stationary until some other driver comes and starts driving it. So the vehicle is the body, and we as a soul are riding in the vehicle. But the whole life, if we think, like for example, if I think I am the sari that I'm wearing, then I take so much effort to wash it, to iron it, to only do that, and then I forget to eat. Then that's not something nice to do. So similarly, we are taking care of the bodily needs, which is very important. We should take care of the family. We should work to earn a living. We should do everything that is required to live comfortably. But if we forget the spiritual purpose of life, it is like the old lady have getting a golden cage but forgetting to feed the parrot. So we learned that Krishna is half of the second chapter is dedicating to this knowledge of how the soul is different from the body. The soul is eternal, the soul doesn't die, and the soul is never born. And at the time of death, it is just a change of body. It is not the stopping of existence, but it's exiting one phase of existence only to come back to the next phase. So after 30 shlokas of explaining the concept of soul theoretically, he's then explaining the concept of the soul in practice in the next 30 shlokas of the second chapter. So we are not going chapter by chapter. So we will see the next concept of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking and telling us that there is someone in control and there is a mastermind behind this mysterious universe. So, I mean, generally, we also ask this question, and many have asked this question that have you seen God? What is a proof of God's existence? Right? What is a proof of soul's existence? Common sense, and also Krishna is giving an example, and we can perceive the presence of the soul through this, through consciousness and on the authority of the Bhagavad Gita. So, and also we saw how the gross body is only left at the time of death, but the soul is carried through with the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So many people have asked, if there is a God, let me see him. Why am I not seeing him? So Srila Prabhupada used to say that even if God comes in front of you, we would think that this is somebody who has dressed up as Krishna, probably for a drama acting, and he has come before us. Unless the real seeing of God is seeing through the eyes of knowledge, not this eyes. So we may not be able to see through this eyes, and many also question that, how can I believe in something that I don't see? I don't see God, and it doesn't look like, anybody is in control. So many weird things are happening in this world, which is beyond, our control and our want. So how do we see that there is a God? So there are 5 points that we are going to discuss today, and there are 2 shlokas that we are going to touch upon. So, based on our observation, and what is the conclusion that we can come, and based on the scientist's observation, and then what do we derive from these 2 observations, which is a $2 million questions, and then something practical with this, and what's our prime duty. So we will see what is the source of the cosmos. Uh, Give me 1 second. I think. Uh, okay. So sorry. So here we see the contemporary worldview is that, I mean, there are different theories of the origin of creation, which is all based on the perception or inference that uh, everything started from a point, and that point is defining beyond all conceptions of space and time, and then from there how everything came about. I mean, to summarize the theory of creation, because this is a very important point. Everyone has to ask, why am I here, and why this world is here? This is considered intelligence, but unfortunately we have no place to ask these questions in our educational system, current education system. We start from ABCD, but there's a different ABCD that we'll see here. So the Vedic worldview is that there is a person who is behind this orderly, harmonious, and systematic universe. So even a great scientist have agreed this, and science discovers, right, the laws of so many things, and um, this proves that there is a brain behind all this systematic universe, which is not chance and randomly created. So, generally, we hear this, although Big Bang is a term that was coined, not exactly the theory, but that was made a coined to make fun of that. But the origin is that, as we discussed, that there is at some point of time, the chemical evolutions came together so that the systems were conducive under a certain temperature and everything. Unicellular life originated. So that is the thing. But if we ask, for example, all of us knew, right? Great, we have our, many of us have seen our grandfather, and very few of us may have seen the grandfather's father. But do we, because we don't see grandfather's great grandfather, do we cease to believe in his existence? It's common logic, right? So I see my father, my grandfather. So my grandfather should be having his grandfather, and his grandfather should have his grandfather. And like that way, to trace out the origin of where we came from. That is why there is, when we do the Sankalpa, there is a Gotra, which lineage we are coming from, is mentioned, right? So if I say that, at one point of time, through this grandfather tracing experiment, can we say that suddenly, at some point, life evolved, or stone or a dull matter or chemicals? From there, something evolved, and then after many billions of years, it became my grandfather. No, if life had originated from chemicals and matter, it should happen even now. But we see that chemicals are originated from life. A lemon tree produces citric acid. But if you combine so much citric acid, we cannot produce a lemon tree from that, right? And every living being has so many, is in the body, many chemicals are produced. So it is logical to see that it may not be Big Bang, but big brain. And that's what it is mentioned, that there are millions and billions of universes, which is made up of matter and spirit, Chit and Achit Sakti, emanating from the pores of the Creator, Mahavishnu. Yachakshuresa Savita Sakala Grahanam Raj. No, Yashvaika Niswashita Kala Matavalambya Jivan Tiloma Vilaja Jagadandanata. So from his pores, so many universes are coming out, and then they grow big, and then their duration is determined by the breath of Mahavishnu. So it all looks like, oh, this is also looking like a mythology story, because I cannot experience it. But the very logic that I can't even see my great great grandfather, but I have to agree on common sense, right? So similarly, this is told in the Shastras, and it is coming down by the spiritual scientists, the sages who have experienced and practiced this. So we see Krishna is saying in the 7th chapter, 4th verse, Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtada. So there are 8 elements. We saw yesterday 5 gross elements: Bhumi, earth; Apaha, water; Analaha, fire; Vayuhu, um, wind; and Kam is ether. And then we have 3 subtle elements: Mano, mind; Buddhi is intelligence; Ahankara is false ego. So the gross and the subtle elements, Krishna says that these are my material energy, or basically it has been created by me in one sense, right? They are my energy, but they are my separated energy. So also in the seventh chapter, he's saying, I am the taste of water. The taste of water is linked to its purity, right? This whole world, there is 75% of sea water, but how much of the salty water can we drink or quenches our thirst? Not even a drop we can put on our water, in our tongue, right? But the purity of the water brings the taste. And who can claim that I got the taste in the water to quench the thirst? Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. So a personalist not only observes the presence of God in the taste of water, but also thanks him for giving water to quench our thirst. Which is, and also he says, Prabhasmi Shashi Shurya Yoho. So the light of the sun and the moon. I am the source of the light of the sun and the moon. We know, we are going to see how the sun is such a powerhouse, and how much amount of heat and light the sun and the moon are emanating. And why would these things come randomly there? Right? The sunrise and sunset and eclipses and everything is been predicted through astronomy, and how these celestial bodies and planets are going in a very orderly fashion and emanating so much of light. And because of sunlight, life is possible in this world, and we can see beautiful creations. Some plants, some flowers grows in water, some in the land, some opens up when the sun is down, some opens up when the sun is up, and different bright colors. And because of the sun, the agriculture is possible. Suppose it rains for 3 days and no sun and no cloud, and we can see. So sun is behind bringing the rain also. We have seen that how by evaporation clouds come and then rains pour, and again, who's behind all this? And the variety of fruits, look at their different colors, the textures, their taste, and each fruit has a particular juice, full of juices, right? I mean, yeah, these are all Mother Nature, but isn't there some orderly design? Some person with artistic ability to see all this, right? So he's saying, I am the source of the light and sun and moon. Without sun and moon, none of our existence is possible. There is no possibility of any grains or fruits or vegetables or any form of life. This even the aborigines knew. That's why even if you see the jungle dwellers, they have some form of worshipping the sun. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is declaring that I am the source, the sun and the moon. And also he not only he says that he's a source of sun and the moon, he's also giving the Vedas. For us, Vedas or Bhagavad Gita is a manual, and it brings light in the darkened world, because we know what to do, what not to do clearly. There is no confusion at all. For a person who have learned Bhagavad Gita in the gurus that is coming in the disciplic succession, he knows clearly what to do and what not to do. So we have Krishna has provided us food to eat, and organizing everything in orderly in the nature. And also he is there as a Vaishwanara Agni to digest the food. If you see, if the food is not digested, I mean, that the other day I was thinking, when we are so hungry and we just start eating with two or three morsels of or spoons of food, we would start feeling filled. How does the food immediately quenches the hunger? Even before it goes, like if you see the food pipe, the food has to be chewed. It goes through the food pipe, and then reaches there. And then there is a digestion process. the waste is eliminated, and the energy is transmitted and absorbed, the nutrients are absorbed. But when we just put the food, 5 spoons, we are feeling full and energetic, especially after a day of fasting. And the power of digestion, we call it hydrochloric acid, right? In Bhagavad Gita, he says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. I am the Vaishvanara Agni, or the fire. And because there is fire, it's we are calling it as a hydrochloric acid, or the acid that is present in the stomach, and acidity is more or less that causes the problem. Because of that, there is temperature in the body. When there is fire, there is temperature. So he says, I digest the foodstuff by the 5 kinds of air going up and down. So in one sense, in 7.7, Krishna makes a statement. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam protam sutre manigana ivam. So there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So if you see this necklace, there is a thread that is holding the pearls. And if the thread is taken away, then the pearls all fall down. Although the thread may not be directly visible, but the thread is the underlying thing that holds a necklace together. So, in this way, Krishna is saying that although he's not present, like directly, explicitly for us to see, but with a little common sense, we can understand that these pearls are there because the thread is holding it. And that way, God is present everywhere. And with a little knowledge and scientific, it's not just blind belief. It is a question of common sense and science. We can see the presence of God. And one more verse, 10.8, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaham. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything emanates from me. I am the source of the spiritual and the material worlds, and everything emanates from me. Those who know this, the wise who know this, engage in devotional service to me. So how is it? And we see the planets, right? And if we see the orbits of the planets and the velocity and how they go through, I mean, each one going at a particular speed and velocity, rotation, revolution, so many mathematical calculations. And Krishna says, Ghama Vishyacha Bhutani Darayamyahamo Pushnami Chausadi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaham. So I enter into these planets and then make it float by my energy. Otherwise, how heavy is the earth? And how is the earth? Who designed the earth's orbit? We figured it out that it takes so long to go around the sun, and it's actually going around the sun. And then we are, figuring it out. But who put that in the first place there? Pranavaha sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham rishu. We go to the gym and practice to be strong. And he says, I am the strength of the strong. And also, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Einstein was very powerful, very intelligent, but who made his brain? Obviously, he didn't create his own brain, right? And, Newton was very intelligent to find out the law of gravity. The apple fell down, but who made first the apple and the juicy apple, right? And then who gave the Newton the brain to understand how the laws of gravity works? So, yeah, so we get many questions by observing the systematic and harmonious universe. How we can say that really is the universe harmonious and systematic? So we will see that. What is our observation? So this is then another ABCDE that we need to know. Artistry, if there is how a very nice artist piece uh, um, shows, points out that there is an artist and there is an organizer behind anything that is organized, and a beautiful creation shows a creator. A design means there has to be a designer, and there is energy. That means it has a source. So this is the we can get by our observation. A, B, C, D, E, F laws, and these laws doesn't change, so they follow a pattern. So we'll see, we have seen many pictures like this, right? And many of us know these pictures are very famous, and we know the artists who drew this. Or whenever we visit some friend's house and we see a nice picture, we go and see who's the person who has done this. If there is a beautiful picture which is a combination of colors and which is a replica of what you see in the nature, basically beautiful things in the nature is being depicted by the artist, and then we ask who's the artist. We don't think that okay, the colors has come on its own and shuffled, and then this beautiful painting came about. But we tend to say the same thing when it comes to creator. We make it impersonal. It is nature, natural resources. But whose nature? The artists copy the original and they are given Nobel Prize for art. But then how much Nobel Prize should we give the original artist, right? Who creates beauty among men, beauty in the nature, beauty in the animals, beauty everywhere around. So we wanted to, if there is so many crafts like making a rose or a jasmine or any flower. So there is a work that we take a particular process we follow to bring the artificial rose. But still, it can come nowhere close to the real rose. It has no fragrance, right? And the texture of the rose petal, and how different roses and the colors. I mean, it's we manipulate it, right? There is botany and the science and all, but in essence, it is all available for the human being to manipulate, right? How much ever we give credit to the human being for copying something in the nature, but then what is there in the nature with the biological complexity and different shapes and forms, how can we not give credit to an artist behind that, right? And also, if we see organization, there are so much organizations even in insect life. Honeybee is an example for that.
Bees are called social insects because they live and work together as a community. Thousands of female bees, called worker bees, live together in a hive with a queen bee. The queen bee was marked with a red dot, so we can see her better. The worker bees are all females, but they almost never lay eggs. Worker bees do almost all the chores in the hive. They gather pollen or nectar, guard the entrance, clean the hive, build the comb, make honey, tend the queen, and feed the larvae. They even fan the hive with their wings to keep it cool on a hot summer day.
Yeah. So much organization in a tiny bee. If you see the brain of the bee, and I mean, it doesn't learn from anywhere, but whatever it needs to make that, uh, it's been given. How is it possible? Let's take the example of a spider. It's Spider-Man is very common. How the spider's web.
Mathematician spiders. Compared to their own sizes, spiders build very large webs. Indeed, if we enlarged a spider to the size of a human being, the length of the web it weaves would be approximately 150 meters, which corresponds to a 50-story skyscraper. Is it possible for a human being to weave a lacework the size of a 50-story skyscraper in only an hour? But a tiny spider accomplishes much more than that. Moreover, the spider-woven web is the sturdiest material in the world. How do spiders weave these webs possessing miraculous features? The spider takes into consideration many factors while weaving a web hundreds of times larger than its own size. This task demands at least some calculations essential in constructing a building. For the accomplishment of this work, first the spider must draw a project like an architect, for a construction of this size, design, and sturdiness cannot be accomplished without an architectural project. Once the project is drawn, the spider must calculate the lifting capacity of each part of the web like an engineer, otherwise the web cannot remain suspended. In order to design such a web and make such delicate calculations, the spider must be more qualified than a college graduate. Indeed, there is not a university that provides education to the offspring. Following their birth, they begin to produce silk, weave web.
Yeah. So we can see that behind a spider web, there's a spider. Behind an organized honey beehive, there are bees, right? So, and also we see wonderful things created by man. The latest cars or computers or watches and architectural marvels, someone did it. There is a brain behind that creation, right? How come, something like this can be built? And the architect of that, he's glorified. And wonderful sculptures, someone has carved it. Then shouldn't we apply this common sense and extrapolate that this universe should have a super intelligent creator too? And it's not that it has come by a chance there, and we are also not come here by a chance, right? Any creation, it points to a creator. So as wonderful creation should indeed have a creator. So this sequoia seed, if you see, it's only 1.5 centimeters in size, but the the tallest tree is coming, the giant tree is coming from this very small tiny sequoia seed. That means the potency of this tree is kept in the seed. And it is mentioned that so many men forming human chains can only form a chain around this tree. And it is so big in height and the diameter, and it's all packaged in a tiny seed. If we see, the giant sequoia is even greater than the Statue of Liberty size. So we see, latest iPhone, how every model, every year, there is an intelligent design. And there are so many people who are reviewing it. And that's one of the most popular YouTube videos, right? But the human brain is considered to be the most fantastic creations. So the point is, who designed this? There's still medical scientists and research is going on, and we are discovering. So even we have not yet exhausted discovering completely knowing about the brain. So we see that there is a brain behind this brain, right? Who created this brain? So just brain is one part. If you take every organ of the human body, heart, lungs, and nails, the skin, everything is only a doctor can say, who has studied the anatomy, how perfectly designed it is. One is dependent on the other, one is connected to the other. And yeah, there is a defense mechanism already in the body. So if we go down to the micro world, and we don't have time, so there is so much DNAs and genes and so many information in that, and everything is following a structure, how the molecules are related to each other, right? It all comes under these different kinds of structures. So there is a structure, they're not random. They can piece this in one of the 14 types of arrangements, the molecules are arranged. So graphite, we know, is quite dark and soft, the coal one that we see. But we also know that diamond is produced from coal only through a slight molecular change. How drastic the differences of the property is, right? So there is a meticulous design in the micro world also. And if we go to the macro world, that is satellite, so each satellite, there is a great amount of science behind the satellite. There is 24 hours round the clock monitoring, and so many critical parameters to monitor. And there is a dedicated control room, and so many people and systems that's involved in monitoring the satellite and getting the work done. So that is a man-made satellite, which is copied like the Earth. Earth is said to be 6 times 10 to the power of 21 metric tons in weight. And the Earth is covered by so many layers that helps, like UV rays. We see that in the atmosphere. Earth is a small thing in the galaxy and in the atmosphere. And it is designed in such a way that it can exist the pressures of the atmosphere. And going around the sun is 106,000 kilometers per hour. At least man didn't design this, we cannot claim, because this is out of the earth. It is about we are in the earth, and it is about the earth's position. So somebody must have designed this. NASA could design a satellite, and we could, do some research, but we cannot claim that we did create the earth, right? So yeah, the planets are going around and in such a speed and velocity that not colliding with each other. There are comets. So there is marvelous design in the nature. Is this one?
Around 1200 AD, a man named Leonard Pisano, better known as Fibonacci, discovered a sequence of numbers that created a very interesting pattern. The sequence begins with the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and continues indefinitely. Each number is obtained by adding the last two digits together. A rectangle with a length and width of any two of the numbers of this sequence forms what is known as the golden rectangle, a perfect rectangle. A golden rectangle can be broken down into squares the size of the next Fibonacci numbers down and below. If we were to take a perfect or golden rectangle, break it down into smaller squares based on Fibonacci's sequence, and divide each with an arc, the patterns begin to take shape. We begin to see Fibonacci's spiral. The spiral in and of itself is insignificant. Its importance is revealed in where we find it. Take, for example, the sunflower. The display of its florets are in perfect spirals of 55, 34, and 21. The sequence of Fibonacci. The fruitlets of the pineapple create the same spiral based on the sequence. The pine cone does the same. As currents move through the ocean and the tide rolls onto the shore, the waves that bring in the tide curve into a spiral that can be mathematically diagrammed onto a plot at the points 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and 55. Buds on trees, sand dollars, starfish, petals on flowers, and especially the nautilus shell are formed with this exact same blueprint. With each segment of growth, the nautilus adds to itself one more value on Fibonacci's scale. This blueprint can be seen around us on a small scale every day, but the greatest example of all is directly above our heads. At an average of 100,000 light years across, even the spiral of the galaxies above us are formed with the exact design that the tiny shell is formed. This sequence or blueprint appears to be the trademark of a designer, a proof of a creator, something left behind indicating the one who was there, a fingerprint. As we scan our universe from the tiny flower to the awe-inspiring galaxy, we see the fingerprint of God.
As you know,
Yeah. So we can see this. This is found out not by religionists but by scientists, and they can see the pattern and the design, and then this means that there is a designer, right? And the energy of the sun. So many fun facts. It's not fun facts. It's amazing facts. So, yeah, it is said that the size of the earth is very small in compared to the sun, and the energy of the sun, and the amount of, on a summer day, we can feel the heat from how far, then how much energy should be emitted from the sun, right? So it is said that just a second, the whole human race is enough to sustain. So that much powerful is the sun. That's why sun is the planet that sustains all the other planets. So we see that, that anything that is flowing or moving, that has energy behind it. So who's the energetic or the person behind the energy of the sun, and why is a question, right? So in the Brahma Samhita, there is a shloka, Yachakshuresa Savita Sakalagrahanam Raja Samasta Suramurtir Asesha Teja Yasya Gyaya Sambrita Brahmati Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So under whose order the sun is supplying this energy and going around, sun rising and setting, and I bow down to that person. Brahma is saying to Krishna, Govinda. So we see that energy, there is a source, energetic. And if we look at the world around us, everything, the school, the office, the time, now there is a vacation, and there is a summer break, there is a winter break, there is an academic year. Who made this law? The educational system makes the law. And there are traffic laws that are made by different countries. And there are sports councils that makes how soccer have FIFA, how it has to be played, against who, playoffs, knockout matches, same thing with cricket. And if you see the periodic table, we don't say periodic chance, but we say periodic law, because there is an arrangements in these chemical elements. First of all, these are not man-made. They are seen in the nature, and then they are seen in with a, that's why there's a table and everything has its position. And also we see laws of physics. So physics follow the law, like you can see the velocity, the speed, the gravity, everything can be systematically designed because they all follow a law. So there is laws in physics and the laws of optics too. See now, the ophthalmologist and optometrist, they can see this, that there is a law that the light follows, and there is a law of thermodynamics in mechanical engineering, heat and cold emission, how heat transfers. Why are we even able to study this? Because we see this fixed patterns in nature in different courses, different departments. If it is random and changing, how can we make a study material and study that for years together and see that it's happening? Because there is a systematic arrangement in the nature, we are able to get this inference and study this, right? So there is a precise laws of mathematical accuracy that governs. So if there is laws, of course, we should learn the law. We should write exams. We should get degrees. We should get job. But we should also take a moment to thank the lawmaker or to acknowledge at least there is a lawmaker who's present. Right. And you see, there are randoms. People say that, why somebody is born beautiful, somebody is ugly, somebody is handsome, somebody is thin, somebody is fat, somebody is economically very much evolved, someone has nothing to eat, somebody is educated and someone is not. Is this random? When everything in the nature follows the laws, how come this can be random, right? We choose our education, our job, our partners, we choose our car, we choose our place of living, but we don't choose our parents. We are born. Like the face shapes, we don't choose it. We may want it, like we always look at the mirror and say, I wish I had a different face. And we don't choose our intelligence. And who chooses and on what basis? And is it by chance? Right? So we see that when everything else follows the law, the matters, everything else follow the law. This is also, how can this can be just random events? And if it is random events, then there is no, the creator is out of his mind, right? So we need to understand what is the law behind this, and that will be our next session. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that karmana daiva netrena jantu dehopapattaye striyaha pravishta udaram pumso reta kanashrayah. Every moment we are watched, and there is a system to watch us. And then, like previously, if you had told this, people won't believe. But now there is CCTV, there is surveillance, there is satellite. So we can see anything going on anywhere can be watched by anybody from, living so far away. So how can, when we can make a system like that, why can't somebody superior make a system to watch our actions and give appropriate reactions, right? So we saw that how by observing the world around us, by thinking, so we can see that there is a hand or a brain of an intelligent supreme designer. He's not just impersonal light. He's a person from whom everything emanates. So scientists also are observing the same. So many scientists, world famous, renowned scientists from medieval times, they have accepted this. There is a brain behind all the physical natural laws. And he's a Nobel laureate, Erwin Schrödinger, and he's saying that there are some things that the science can precisely explain and predict. But there are some things that is matter of our heart, the love and the hate that we feel, the physical pain, or the happiness, right? The good or bad, or God and eternity. We cannot have a compass. The science cannot have a compass to measure these. That means science is good and we need it. There is material advancement. We are able to even sit and talk and communicate, given the fact that many of us from around the world in different time zones, it's because of the advancement of the science. But there are some things that is beyond the purview of the science, and that is agreed by the scientist himself. Right? So, yeah, Lord Kelvin says this. You would be forced by science to believe in God because they are all seeing that. And if they're honest, they tell it out. So, Isaac Newton believed that there is a creator, but his fellow scientists didn't believe. So, he made a model of this solar system, galaxies and the earth and the sun and everything that going around. And then they were so surprised. They asked, this is precise. How did you make it? And he said that it just there. Uh, It just came about like that. Then they were saying, no, we know that you made it. Then he said, I just copied the model and you say I made it. Then how can not be a creator behind behind that origin, the real stuff that is there present, right? So he agrees that there is a governance, there is a law, there is an intelligent and powerful being. And in Bhagavad Gita, we understand not only Lord is intelligent and powerful, but he is personal and loving also. So, yeah, and then, yeah, we see that the more they study deep in science, they have to come to this fact. Because I recently attended a seminar that they were threadbare discussing the origin and what are the theories that became famous, and then they come to a point of gray matter. And that gray matter is what is not explicable, infinite weight, infinite mass, and infinite light, so many attributes that they call it as dark matter or gray matter because it's not clear. From there, everything started. So, so this also proves that there is a creator, and our famous, Srinivasa Ramanujan, and he's saying this, that he himself has brought out revolution in mathematics, but he pointed out to the presence of the creator through the equations. Yeah. So many Western scientists, medieval, they have understood this, that uh, observing the universe and minutely and more meticulously, they cannot but come to a conclusion that there is a brain behind them. Okay, so maybe we have to skip this due to lack of time. So this is famous show in India long back. So the origin of the universe is what? By chance, but we understand that this is an intelligent design. And what is the purpose? It cannot be without purpose. Nothing is created without purpose, to understand God and life and to be happy and peaceful. Actually, our goal in life is to be happy and peaceful, but we cannot attain that without understanding the science of God. So we see that any complicated machine did not come by chance and cannot be created with no purpose. So similarly, any machine, and so how come this super intelligent, this awesome universe definitely must have a super intelligent design and producer, and that is the big brain theory. So yeah, so this is what the dark matter that we were explaining about, and there is so much assumptions, and it is our choice to put faith in that, or if you put faith in the scriptures where the Lord is telling that I am the origin, and the origin is a life, is a person. That's what we are coming to. It is not just stone or dark matter or impersonal light, but it's a living person who can be seen face to face. And that is what the secret Bhagavad Gita is uh, giving us. So if we see, this is activity time, making a comparison between the government of our country and the universal government, there is a home ministry, health ministry, some of the major departments, so which is taking care, right? So there is also the universal government that when we cross, when the law and order is crossed, there is punished. There is a reason why this body is designed, and overindulgent in anything that is not good for the body will produce the resultant diseases, right? So we have Ayurvedic herbs and the Ministry of Energy. We have the sun and the moon in the universal government. And then we have the finance ministry. The currency is made based on the gold reserve, and gold and silver and all the diamonds are the valuable jewels, right? So that's what, the other day somebody was telling that it is good to invest in gold than the real estate because it goes up and down. But these the gems of the nature, they keep, exponentially increasing. So we have this immunity in the body. If there is a cut in the body, even if we don't treat it, it will heal on its own, right? There is an immunity. Okay. So like this, we are just, this may not directly, whatever we spoke was directly not told in the Bhagavad Gita. But when Krishna says that there is a creator and I have created, now by observing these things, we can kind of understand and also explain to someone who's asking us. So now it makes sense that everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So life is evolving from life, and that's what we see, that the matter is temporary and perishable. Even in this life, we see that as we grow old, then they say you are this much old, your body is already, worked so hard, and it's supposed to slow down and give problems. But the soul never gets old because it's ever youthful. There is no age, there is no time. Body is under the loss of time, but the soul is not. And Krishna is saying, I am the seed giving father of all existences. So how do we get the next body? Okay, that's what the law of karma we are going to see. And then we saw this contemporary world view and the Vedic world view. So we see, how lemon tree produces citric acid, for example, and like that way there are so many chemicals produced by so many things in the nature. And also we see that the bodies don't evolve. What is the thing of evolution? The body is like an apartment. So first, somebody when they start, they buy the first small home, then they upgrade into a big home, and then they buy yeah, vacation home, and then an island, like that. So what is changing is the apartment, but the person is the same. It goes from one apartment to another bodily apartment. So that is the evolution of the soul and not the body. So we have seen that the ancestors are also, according to the Vedic worldview, are all, that's why Mahabharata and Ramayana is relegated as mythology. How come there is so much morality? Even now, there are uh, archaeological artifacts that shows that there was Dwaraka. It went under the water, and there are so many places where Lord Rama walked, and the so many things they're still remaining to make sure that. And what is Ramayana and Mahabharata saying? Ultimately, virtues, morality. How can that be just mythology? Right? They were all much, much more politically and religiously civilized people than the current of current all of us put together. And then we also see the Sanskrit languages, how it is like rightly made. It's perfectly composed. And we see this Darwin's theory. I mean, some exact excerpts from the origin of species, how a polar bear, could have turned into a whale. It's possible. How a giraffe got a long neck, right? So it's up to us where we want to put our faith. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 types of existence that's mentioned: gross to subtle to enlightened and elevated state of relationship with the Supreme, right? So this is Annamaya, which is food is a supreme object. When the child is born, everything the 1-year-old child has to put in the mouth. For him, everything around is only food. That is Annamaya. But when he starts to go to school, then he wants to play. He observes. He preserves his life. That is Pranamaya. Then he comes to more. The mind becomes more mature. There is appreciates the subtle interactions, gross and the subtle, and then beyond that is Vijnanamaya, because they're a very fortunate set of people understand that there is a brain, there is a source behind all this fantastic, and I want to relate with the source. And once one is dedicating his life to relate with the Supreme, who is bliss personified, then our life also becomes happy and peaceful. So Bhagavad Gita, the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita is not only that do your duty without attachment to the result, which is very vague and abstract. Although that is a very commonly, if you ask ChatGPT, that's what it gives. If you ask any Indian, that's what he says. But that is said in the 3rd chapter only in one shloka. And there are so many things that is told in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a mother book of yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga. Like that, yoga means connection with the Supreme. And we all live for relationships. And Bhagavad Gita is teaching us the art of how to develop a blissful relationship with the Supreme Lord, even in our current lives. Can experience the bliss. Right? So, yeah. So there are so many books on this that one can read. And so we need to do a comparative study. So if there is no creator and there is no purpose of creation, then, everybody becomes, the goal of life is that I, me, and mine. I should be the center of the world, and I should die with the biggest, bank balance. But when we realize that there is a purpose and there is a creator, and who is wanting to connect with us, who's waiting for us to open our heart to him, then we understand the science, we apply the science, and ultimately our aim is to become joyful, realizing God and realizing oneself. Yeah, so this is what we see. When we forget God, then we become the center, and there is no moral rules, and we can do anything and everything to make us feel happy and enjoy. But a person, Krishna is telling all the secrets of life so that to attain everlasting happiness. So we will see this, where is our part in desiring, how much the Lord sanctions, and where is the role of the material nature that arranges the facility for this. And I think I'm going to stop now. We will maybe continue this tomorrow. Okay. So what's our prime duty? Is to understand this, the purpose of the creation, and to uh, liberate ourselves from the miseries. So we have been given the intelligence in the human form of life, and we want to use that to unfold the mysteries and use the science to glorify God, and also use this to solve our problems. So that is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. So our prime duty is see the pattern. The next time when we see a bunches of roses in anybody gives us, or in a supermarket, we will we'll have to think about who's the person behind this artistic creation and take a moment to glorify him.
Similar to Anne.
Okay, so in summary, we saw the A, B, C, D, E of creation, how an artistry gives an art. There is an artistic organizer who's a creator, designer, and he's energetic lawmaker also. Even the scientist's observation also confirms the same. And by observing this, we get answers to million-dollar questions. And we can see there is a governance. This universe is also governed. And just like the prime minister is the head of the government or a president, similarly, there is a supreme personality of Godhead who is heading this. And we are here for a reason. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you all very much for your patience. And if there is any questions, we can see, we can take it now. You can raise your hands. Yeah, thanks so much. If a soul is never dead or born, then how is the first living thing alive? That's a good question. So, we didn't talk about this, the creation of the universe, right? When the universe is created, there is, it's created with matter and the jivas. Krishna says that I am the seed giving father. So, he's placing the living entities within the universe, and according to their karma, they get a body. And this goes, and the universe is created and annihilated. It's not that there are times, and it's a cyclic process. So one universe, as we'll see in the topic of time, that what is the time duration between the one creation and annihilation. And it is not said that by the time, if by the time of universal annihilation we are automatically liberated. No, unless we decide and desire to understand the science to and to work towards um, our relationship with God, then we don't get out of the cycle. Even though the universe is annihilated, we remain in dormant consciousness with our karma, and again we come back. Then when the next universe is created again. Okay, thank you, devotees. So, anything else? Any other questions? The soul is said to be this marginal energy. The soul can choose to be in the spiritual world, in the world where there is no time and space, or in the material world, which is governed by time. So there is creation and annihilation. So yeah, that is how creation is there. Like it is like asking why the government created the jail, because there will be some people who will not live, who will not follow the laws. So jail is created for them, and then that is supposed to be a center for rehabilitation, and then they come out and join the other citizens. Okay, Pushpa, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I want to ask you about like if we are into the consciousness of Krishna and we are doing chanting, and like when we go to temple we feel good, and if we are in that kind of environment we get into peace. And but the other thing is that like it says vibrations and all those things nowadays people are talking. When you go at workplace again, and then there are people with different mindset, so their thinking creates another environment for you, and then again you start feeling low, and like it goes on, like you are sometimes up and sometimes down. So how to overcome that?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. So that is why, if you see the sages and the saints, they have a routine and they charge their batteries just like we charge our phones in the night. And then when then the morning that phone is 100% charged and we can use it for whatever we want. Similarly, we charge ourselves with spiritual vibrations in the beginning of the day, early in the day. Then we can see, even if we go to the workplace and we deal with some negative situations also, we will not be affected or influenced by that much. If we have a strong spiritual, like how you said, you go to a temple, you feel, why we feel that vibration in the temple, because everybody who comes there, they're doing prayer to the Lord, and there is a exchange. Although we don't see the deity talking, but everyone from the heart, because God is Krishna is present in the heart as Paramatma, so they can feel the reciprocation of having come to the temple, and they have felt some presence of the Lord, and that makes them feel happy and peaceful. And so many people coming to the temple, having these interactions and feeling happy and peaceful, makes the aura, it's all like we are emitting vibrations in the environment. And that's why that environment is, in the temple is, when you go inside and come, you feel happy and peaceful. That's true. So every day, it's not, I mean, our lifestyle previously, previous to previous generation, they used to do that. There used to be huge temples in the villages, and people get up before sunrise. They come for the worship. They go around the temple. They bring flowers and fruits and worship the Lord. And then they go do their work. But right now, our fast paced life is not able to do that. So we need to practice. In the Kali Yuga, the equivalent of going to the temple is chanting the Lord's names. Like even in the temple, what is done, what the pujaris do, when you go, they chant that deity's name, right? 108 names of Vishnu, 108 names of Shiva. There's constant mantras and chants going on, and that is that purifies the atmosphere. So in Kali Yuga, the Lord is present in His holy name. So if we can practice chanting of this Maha Mantra uh, before the start of the day, and then read at least 1 or 2 pages of Bhagavad Gita before we start the day, then we are charged, like our phones are charged, we are charged with spiritual energy, and we can see that that forms like a shield, and we will not be affected much by the negative energies that we have to face throughout the day. Hope it's okay. Yeah, Preeti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna. Nice to see
This,
you.
yeah, this is Preeti from
I
New
know.
Jersey. Yeah, very good to see you. And I'm very grateful for the amazing class today. I loved your examples, like the spider example. You said that how the spider builds that web so scientifically. And if they could build up to if they were human size, then the web would be up to 150-story buildings. So, yeah, that was really amazing. And the fingerprint example, that was really amazing to see that how even small creatures have so much brain, and they can do so many sophisticated things. So that's what I was thinking, that if even everything is made by human, this wall clock in front of me, my home, my TV, my fan, everything. So if everything is made by human being, then how can such a big universe be made by nobody?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that was really very nice points that you raised. I had one question, Mataji.
Mhm.
So, like in Krishna consciousness, we are practicing praying to Krishna. We don't eat non-vegetarian or meat, and we practice everything, doing puja, praying everything. So, like that, there are other religions also, right? Christians, Muslims. So they are allowed to eat meat. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada used to never criticize any other religion. He used to say that if they are serving their God with true love and devotion, then it is also good. So then, how do we explain this, that they are eating meat, hurting the other animals, causing them fear, anxiety, pain? And however, in Hinduism, we don't do that. And still, will they get the same mercy of the Lord, and will they get the same moksha or whatever in their religion compared to like Hinduism?
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So, very nice question. And, yeah, even the tiny spider, who gave the brain to the spider to build such a web, or the brain in the honeybee, is what, we have to think. So, the point is, there are different schools and different grades. Like for a first grade, what is expected of a first grade is not the same of what is expected of a 10th grader, right? So the rules for the first grade may differ from the rules for the 10th grader, but ultimately everybody is given some part of the education that allows them to go up in the ladder. So similarly, whatever religions, they're all, the goal is one: to know God, to understand how we are connected with God, and to live a God centered life, happy and peaceful. So, this is you can define all the religions. Any religion will have this goal. So, in that way, they're all equal. But different religions are given to different sets of people according to their capacity to absorb. Like I said, that's why Bhagavad Gita, what is present there in other religions, you can find that in Bhagavad Gita. And also, there are some special things that you'll not find anywhere is present here also. So that is why anybody who is following their religion, Srila Prabhupada recommended them to follow that up to whatever their moral values allows. But the main thing in Kali Yuga is to chant the names of the Lord. Even if you see Christianity, they say praise the Lord, and they have uh, the rosary beads, and in the Islam religion also they chant the 99 names of Allah. So we see that is a powerful way to connect with God. And of course, like as we see, there are different, even in Hinduism, it is said that that meat eating is not taboo, but it is mentioned mam saha, means we are learned, we are taught to know that if we give pleasure to others, we get the pleasure back. If we give pain to others, we get pain back. So that is, if somebody wants to or for has a habit to eat that, then there are certain circumstances under which they eat, and there are certain mantras. They say mam saha, means mam means I, saha is he. So I am giving, I am taking your right to live now for the sake of my food, and you can also do the same. So right now we don't know those mantras, or we don't even know what is going on behind that. So no matter what religion it is, if a person is want to um, like reduce his carbon footprints, and they're also in different modes of nature, as you have attended the previous classes, in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. So accordingly they choose a path. But Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't say that this is only for, if you're eating meat or drinking, that you can't. This knowledge is not for you. It's not like that. But when they learn the science of knowledge, then they, see the different modes of nature, how we are in, and then they make choices of life, like what I need to do, what I not to do, what I don't need to do, so that I can, promote myself to the mode of goodness. And that comes slowly, as and when a person advances in spiritual wisdom and knowledge. And so that's not a prerequisite for understanding this knowledge, is what I can think about now, Mataji. Hope it's okay. Sorry.
Yes, Mataji. So that is helpful. So you are saying that the person is the people are assigned to different grades, like somebody is in grade 1, somebody is in grade 10. So that could also be based on their previous karma, that they're assigned to specific religion.
Also, their
Or-
evolution of consciousness and how much they want to follow, like that. Yeah, but we
Mm.
can see this wisdom is for spiritually thirsty people, in all religions. That's what, Prabhupada presented this Bhagavad Gita for. So it's not only for Hindus, but anybody who wants to know how this universe works, what is the things. All he says is about us. It is true that Hindu also grows old, the Muslim dies, the Christians is also having the disease, and these problems are common to the whole humanity. So that is the position of Bhagavad Gita. It's a spiritual wisdom that anybody who's having that spiritual thirst, no matter from whichever religion they come from, they can take it and they can apply it, and they can see that it's whether it's working or not.
Hmm. Okay, Mataji. Makes sense. Very helpful.
That is
Thank
why
you.
there is no one word Hindu in Bhagavad Gita. Right? We
Right.
know that, right? Because
Right.
there is no word Hindu at all in any of the literatures. What is there is called Sanatan Dharma. Dharma means what we should do. Sanatana means we understand that we are eternal spirit souls. And we are not, this life is only one chapter in our book, or one page in a book of like 1,000 pages or something like that. So we understand the temporary nature of this life, and we understand that how we continue to live, and we want to do that dharma that will that is suitable for our eternal life, and that is what is called Sanatan Dharma, which over a period of time came to be called as Hinduism.
Right, Mataji. So the fate of a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness religiously, doing everything, offering, chanting, everything, I am thinking would be different from people who are not following that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
they're all
moksha, all those things.
yeah, they're all in different grades, Mataji. That's what I say. So what is, if a person is in first grade, then he has to learn 1 + 1 = 2, or little things like that, and that is what is expected of him. And if he is doing that to his fullest capacity, then he goes to the next stage, right? But a person in the 10th grade, if he does only what a person in the 5th grade does, then that's not enough, because
Hmm.
he has more knowledge, and the 10th grade student has more experience and 9 years of studying. So so depends on the expectation and responsibility depends on the how much knowledge you're exposed to, and how you're able to practice it.
Hmm. Right, Mataji.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That helps a lot. Thank
Thank
you very much,
you.
Mataji. And thank you again for the amazing class. And this nutshell course, it's very, very beneficial to us. I was
Thank
looking forward to your course from so many days. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. It's nice to
Hare
see you.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Sanjana, Hare Krishna. Are you able to unmute?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have one more question. You were saying that we should chant Hare Krishna to overcome the negativity or karmas. But what will we do like when we are chanting? Still, our mind is distracted because for so many years we have practiced that distraction. So now that if we are trying to chant, the mind is somewhere and you are just chanting. So uh,
So,
you
yeah,
don't feel satisfied that, oh, I'm chanting, but I was just thinking this, that, and it's going here and there.
yeah, the chanting itself means with the mind only. Without mind, we cannot chant with the mind somewhere else. It will not work that much. It will still, there will be a good effect, but we can't feel the effect. So we need to consciously put an effort to hear the mantra, and we need to make an effort not to not to let them think about anything else. Of course, the mind will run here and there, but we need to bring it back. and fix the mantra in the heart and understand the meaning of the mantra, the prayer in a prayerful mood. So when we are doing the mantra in a prayerful mood and hearing the sound vibration of the mantra through our ears, the mantra goes to the heart, and then the heart is cleansed, and then we feel the bliss of the presence. So that is how mantra should be chanted. We will learn all those methods, and slowly we will see that we'll get better and better in putting the mind in the mantra. It comes by practice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there are some questions in the chat. If Krishna is the source of the sun and the moon, then who is Lord Surya and Chandra? Very good question. So, Surya Dev, we can see, and Chandra Dev is a moon god and sun god. And Krishna is saying that I am the source of sun and the moon. Surya Dev and Chandra also comes from the Lord. And Krishna gives them the power. Just like if a finance minister is there in the department, in the government, the head of the government, prime minister, gives the power to the finance minister, whatever, or whatever department minister it is, he gets the power. He is still a person and he is responsible for the finance ministry, but he is given the power by the prime minister to do that. So that's what Krishna says, that neither Surya nor Chandra says that we are the supreme personality of Godhead. Is that okay? He is the source of the Surya and Chandra, is what Krishna is saying. So that doesn't mean that we should not give respect to the Surya and Chandra, because they are representatives of the Lord. As much as financial minister is a representative of the government, and just like the finance minister's post is only when his party is in power for 5 years or 10 years. Then he loses the post. So similarly, these devas also, they stay there for the duration of one manu or one manmantara. We are going to see that. That is like 71 Chatur Yugas. That is like 71 times 4 million years or 4 billion years. So we are going to arrive at this calculation when we do the concept of kala or time. Hope that's okay, Dikshita Mataji. What kind of karma we should do in our daily life so that we'll not get any next birth? That is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. What should we do? That's what Arjuna's question also. If I fight, then I will be responsible for incurring the sinful reactions for killing my own guru and grandfather. What amount of sin it is to kill one's guru and one's grandfather and all the relatives. But Krishna told that when you do the same fight for the sake of the Lord, because I wanted this fight of dharma as an instrument, then you don't get the sinful reaction, right? So there are 3 types of karma. We will go about that in detail, maybe tomorrow or in the next session of 18 going into chapter wise also. So there are 3 types of karma in short: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma is whatever we do good, we are supposed to do, and we get good reactions for that. And vikarma means something that we are not supposed to do, we do that, and we get bad reactions for that. Okay, then akarma means we perform karma, but which produces no result. So there is no give and take at all. And so we don't need to take another material birth. So that akarma is what we need to learn. How to do that is another example is that if a military soldier kills the opposite, uh, the country's soldier, the more amount of soldiers he kills in the opposite under the command of his superior, okay, then he gets glorified. He gets prizes for that. But if the same person comes home and offends the neighbor or kills the neighbor, then he will be put in jail. It's the same killing, but one is done under the order and another is done on his own. So when we learn what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and we follow our life in that life instructions of Bhagavad Gita, and we try to work according to that, then we will perform our karma so that we'll not get any next birth. How about dairy industry? Nowadays we see so much of cruelty happening to animal for milk and dairy product. Yes, that's true. So this consciousness, awareness should be present among all of us, that slowly, it should spread, snowball, so that this cruelty of animals can be stopped. It cannot be done by, a handful of people, but then every revolution is started by a handful of people only. So although technically by taking milk the cow doesn't die. And the cow gives milk not only for the calf. The cow gives milk. Cow is called the mother. Why? Because it gives milk especially to the human beings. If a mother dies and the child is not able to have milk, then by drinking the cow milk, the human child can survive. Look at the amount of the grocery stores in all the countries and the amount of the dairy products that's there in the dairy section: milk, yogurt, cheese, butter, ghee, and whatever is there. So how much amount is there? It's produced from the cow, right? And by taking the milk, we don't kill the cow. So taking milk from the cow and taking meat from the cow is not the same. But although the milk and the meat industry are linked, unfortunately, and then it is mentioned that, dairy is also, no. If in fact, if we don't take the milk from the cow feels the pain in the udder. So yeah, these two things should be separated, and the cruelty in the dairy industry should be stopped. So we should support goshalas where they don't send the cow to slaughterhouse after the milking period is over. So like this we can create a revolution. Okay, so Sanjana's question is, when the first human being was created and then all the way up to us, does it technically mean we are all brothers and sisters? Not exactly, but we are all children of God. So uh, in the Christian theology also, we see that Adam and Eve, and then they both were created by the Lord, and they're not brother and sisters. Same way Swayambhuva Manu and Satarupa were uh, created, but they are not brother and sister. They combined and then they started creating the further generation. So it's not exactly brothers and sisters, but the soul is a part and parcel of God. That we have not touched that point yet, but we will see that how we have so far seen that our identity is the soul and not this body, and the soul is a part of the super soul. Just like the children come from the parents, but they are individual. Similarly, we are all connected to God eternally as his part and parcel, as his children, as the created beings, as his energy. He says that we are all his superior energy. And by understanding that, in that sense, there is no difference. There is no brother, sister, or anywhere. Even the soul in the body of a plant or an animal or anyone is the same. The quality of the soul is the same, whether in human being or animal. The soul is the same. Okay, how to achieve enlightenment step by step. So enlightenment comes by knowledge. Okay, when we understand some things, then the ignorance, it is said that the jnana deepena bhasvata. When we understand the knowledge, the light of knowledge dispels the darkness of ignorance. And then knowledge if is still theoretical. But when it becomes wisdom, when the knowledge is applied, it becomes wisdom. Then it becomes an experiential truth. And for such a person who has experience, then he can never be shaken. So that's what Bhagavad Gita is giving. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram idam uttamam, Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam, Susukam kartum avyayam. This is the king of knowledge and king of education. And by practicing this, one can perceive the enlightenment from within the heart. And it is very joyful to perform. That's Bhagavad Gita's teaching. Not just detached, do your duty and don't expect the result. No. It teaches us how to be happy from within the heart and how to connect with God on a daily basis and how to do akarma. So it all comes step by step. So what is akarma? It is nishkam karma. Nishkam karma is a preliminary part of akarma. Akarma basically means doing something like we discussed the example of the soldier doing something under the order of his commander. So when we do something that Krishna has asked us to do, so that's why we need to know Bhagavad Gita is a life book, is a life journal. It helps it we get to know what to do and what not to do. So when we follow Bhagavad Gita, then we do akarma. Means we our life is led under the direction like Krishna is a supreme commando and we are the soldier and we are following his instructions, and then we don't have any sinful reactions. Uh, our love for Krishna increased a lot. Same. Our devotion feelings for demigods, will demigods be okay with that? Actually, when we understand the connection between Krishna and all the others, then this question doesn't arise at all. It's like if we satisfy the father, okay, if we are a good child to the father, then the other members of the family are automatically satisfied with that, right? If a son is good and is listening to the father and following the father's instruction, the mother is happy, the brothers are happy, grandmother is happy, everybody is happy around. So the demigods are none other than the representatives of the Supreme Lord, and they have the connect. Everybody is interlinked and connection with the Lord. Just like you know, there is a thing that when there is a blinking light, the cop comes behind you, you stop. If we don't stop, they have the power to even shoot us, right? Everybody knows that. So when there is a blinking light, then we stop the car, we take to the sides and we stop and we answer the questions. Who is giving that cop that power? The power is given by the government. Although he is a very low level compared to all that, there are ministers, there are hierarchy in his department. He reports to someone, and then there are district, and then there are so many. But he is carrying the power, and we need to give respect to him, right? So if we are following the laws of the government, then why would the cop will he not be happy with us, right? So uh, when Krishna showed Vishwarupa in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he showed that how all the uh, Shiva, Durga, and everyone is present with him. And when we are following Krishna's instructions, everyone is becoming automatically happy and peaceful. How? There are two examples given for that. When we water the root of the plant, the leaves, the flowers, the branches, the topmost leaf also gets nourished. Similarly, when we do devotional service like chanting and other things, 100% all the gods are happy with that. Why? Because ultimately When we go to the gods, then we only pray for material things. Okay, Ganesh, take away from my obstacles. Durga, please make sure that I have no diseases in my thing. Lakshmi ji, your job is to I do Lakshmi Puja once in a year, and I need my finances should be right. And Saraswati ji, my children and everyone should study properly. So everywhere it's we are the center. Okay. We go and we ask these things from the Lord. But if we are asking them how I may be of service to you, what is your plan for my life? Then we follow that plan, then definitely all these things they are going to give. Okay, we are going to get power, we are not going to be in the road without money, we are going to get education. Everything comes to us if we do the activity that we are supposed to do as a spirit soul, devotional service to the Lord. So I can say that there are, if we read Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva says Rudra Gita. So Rudra Gita, he's telling to Prachetas. We just like Bhagavad Gita, there is Rudra Gita, and he is giving the mantra which is glorification of Lord Vishnu, and he is telling to the Prachetas that whoever is a devotee of Lord Vishnu is very dear to me. And similarly, Vishnu is saying that whoever is a devotee of Lord Shiva is very dear to me. In the um, in the pastime of Sati and Shiva, like that. And also in the second canto, we see Narada Muni asking to Brahma, "You are the creator. As far as I know, there is no one above you. So you are the one who's a source and who's worthy of all worship." No, no, Brahma says, "No, I am created. How was I created? Do you know? I was born in a lotus, a huge lotus, and then the lotus was going up and down, and and I saw all over only wild currents and water, and it was all dark, and I don't know the purpose of my creation. Then I heard the sound that do tapasya, so I meditated on the form of the I meditated, and then when I could open my eyes, I could see, oh, there is Vishnu who is lying down on the causal ocean, and then from his navel came this lotus stem, and I am there in the lotus. So Brahma is explaining this. So in like this way, we can see that how by following the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, rest assured, not only Shiva, Durga, even Allah and Jesus will be pleased. 100%. Okay. Thank you for the very beautiful questions. My favorite part is the question answer part, and I would like to, it challenges my understanding. So in that way, I can improve too. So anything else? Any other questions for today? Okay, if not, I really appreciate your patience for staying back and asking questions and taking part in this discussion, although it's not mandatory. But I'm very happy with the question. So please think about this, and no question is a wrong question or bad. Please come up and ask this so many can be benefited out of this. So Krishna willing, we will pause here, and we will come again tomorrow for to delve into another concept of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.